Hello everyone, this is Mazen Speaks here. First video on the channel, funnily enough, and it happens to be when my football club, Chelsea. Why do I support this team? Why do I support this team? On a real, it's so peak at this point how much of a mid-table team we are, and it actually grinds my gears. People will blame the loss today. We lost 5-0 to Arsenal, for those who don't know. I'm going to put that in the title. But for those who are going to blame Poch, I agree. Poch is horrible and he should be sacked. And anyone saying that he shouldn't be sacked, get your head out of the gutter. Get your head out of the gutter, because he's not the main problem at this football club, but he's one of the big problems. And he's got to go. This result cements it. I was Poch out a few months ago. But I was like, okay, I will give him a few more chances. We'll see what happens. This is unforgivable. Arsenal are on a title charge. And yes, people would say they're very hungry for this one, and that's why they smashed us 5-0. We're Chelsea. We're their rivals. Arsenal are one of our biggest rivals apart from Tottenham. Tottenham, West Ham, teams like that. Arsenal are one of our biggest rivals. We banter with Arsenal fans all the time. Obviously, I respect Arsenal as a club, but their fan base, man. Not all, but come on. Have some self-respect. You can't go out as a Chelsea fan and say that you're a Chelsea fan anymore. It's absolutely outrageous. And Arsenal challenging for the title. We're Chelsea. We don't want them to win the title. Let's be honest, right? Maybe there might be some Chelsea fans who are like, we want Arsenal to win it over Man City, etc. I couldn't care less if Man City win the title again. I would rather them win the title again than Arsenal win the league again. I would. We go to the Emirates. Arsenal are hungry. You know they're going to be hungry for it. They're fighting for the league title. But then we go there and we put in that shambolic performance. None of these players are fit to wear the Chelsea shirt. None of them. It's so criminal how so many of them could get into this squad. And I'm going to be real, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's not their fault they don't care. It's the recruitment's fault. Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, what are they doing in these roles, director of football roles at this football club? These players clearly don't care. They clearly do not care. But how do you get them to care when you bring them into a squad that has no fucking backbone? Apologies for the swear word. I shouldn't swear, okay? I'm so flabbergasted. There's no backbone in this squad. There's no experienced player apart from Thiago Silva to actually show them the ropes. How do you put them into a squad and expect them to care? Pochettino. Oh my God. I was so excited when he came into this club. I was so excited when we recruited him. I didn't think he was going to win us anything specifically, but I thought that he could at least get this team, or at least help this team get back up to the top 4 level that we should be at. Minimum top 4 level. But since he's come in, it's been an absolute disaster. Like, what's happened to the squad since pre-season? Maybe it's because no other team was up for it. I don't know. And now, obviously, we're in competitions. Every team's up for it. But it's so terrible. It's so toxic. Not because of Pochettino, but he's one of the factors. The team selection today. How was Badiashile and Axel Disasi getting back into the centre-back roles after not playing against Man City? After not playing against Everton? You could clearly see their liabilities at the back. And then they come in midweek for Thiago Silva and Chalobah, who played on the weekend, who played against Everton, and they put in a shambolic performance. None of them are fast. They're both slow. None of them have any defensive awareness. Why do you think putting them in is such a good idea? I don't understand. And some of the questions, and then you bring on Thiago Silva late on in the game. That's so disrespectful. For someone who's 37, 38, I think he's 39 now actually, who's gone through so much in his career, won the Champions League, been playing at the Champions League level, Serie A, Liga, and winning these amazing league titles, playing for the Brazil national team. To put him in a game where you're losing 5-0. What's the point? The game's already done. You might as well just start him. Decisions like that, and don't even mention the football we play. There's no identity in the football we play. It's depressing. Cole Palmer is the only person in this team who's actually good. Who's actually good. Players like Enzo, Caicedo. Enzo, I don't know what's happened to Enzo. I do believe there's a player in Enzo. Same as Caicedo. I do believe there are players in there. But Moises Caicedo, this is why you don't spend 110 million on a player who's only spent one season proving himself. He's 21 years old. 21 years old. He only came to the Premier League 2 years ago. Enzo Fernandez, I don't know what's happened. He looks a shadow of a player that he was. To be fair, at the beginning of the season, he was actually playing well. He was actually playing some good football. And I think some people would maybe say that his World Cup run was, like that he's a fraud because of his World Cup run. It was just a purple patch. But I don't think that's the case. I do think there's a player in there. Because you saw when he first came into this Chelsea team last season when Graham Potter was in charge, he was definitely making an impact. The whole team's just shambolic. But the beginning of the season too, the game against Liverpool, games like that, where he played well. But now that it seems to be like his whole technical ability is downgraded along with the squad. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I'm surprised Cole Palmer's even trying. I think the only reason Palmer's even trying at this point is so he can get the golden boot. He didn't even play today. And obviously, it was a huge impact on our attack. We could have maybe scored a few goals. But we still conceded 5. What's Palmer going to do about that? We still conceded 5. And it's so... It's painful. Everyone knows Chelsea is a joke. Everyone does. I don't live in the UK. I live in the US. As you can tell, from the sunlight in the background. It would be nighttime if I was in the UK. And there, obviously, I come across football fans and non-football fans. And obviously, football fans know we're horrible. But non-football fans, I can speak to someone who's just into like American football, into the NFL. And they will know Chelsea are terrible. They will know that we've spent £1 billion and a 10th place in the league. I don't even know if we're 10th or 9th anymore. I think we're still 9th. I'm not sure. I need to check but it doesn't matter whether we're 9th or 10th. 9th or 10th. This team shouldn't be 9th or 10th. Chelsea Football Club is a team that should be top 4 in the league minimum, but competing for the league title, competing for the Champions League, competing for the FA Cup, competing for the EFL Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever you call it now. But we're not there. And people will blame just Poch, but it's not just Poch, to go back to my point earlier. These owners, this is why you don't bring American owners into football. This is why. None of them know what they're doing. None of them seem to know what they're doing because they're so used to owning NFL teams, MLB teams, baseball, American football teams, and just spending a buttload of money and just winning everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't work in football. You don't just spend a buttload of money. And I think it's the same extent in NFL and the MLB as well. You need some team cohesion. In football, you don't just spend money and win. That's not how it works. Yes, you can spend money and win because Chelsea have done it before, but you don't just spend money. You have to spend it in the right places to get the right players, but you have to keep that team cohesion at the same time. That's what Chelsea did so well when Abramovich took over in 2003. And that's what made us so hated. The fact that we were able to do that, to implement tons of money and to create a title-winning team who won consistently every season, no matter how bad our season was, we would still win a trophy. These owners don't understand that. Todd Boehly, Baghdad Bali, Clear Lake Capital, which is the consortium that owns Chelsea, none of them understand that. Todd Boehly, people would say we shouldn't have sacked Tuchel. We shouldn't have sacked Tuchel, I agree. But it didn't start with sacking Tuchel. It started with Abramovich, first of all, obviously, the British government sanctioning Chelsea and getting him to sell the club, which so stupid. I can rant about the British government all day. They clearly just wanted Chelsea to collapse. Let's just be real. We were hated from the moment Abramovich took over, and they took an opportunity to get him to sell the club, and he obviously sold the club, and this is what we've become. But Bowley coming in, Eghbali coming in, and firing everybody, not keeping anyone in the squad or in the football club at the highest positions, firing everybody, not keeping one person even recognize the club. At least keep someone like Marina Granovskaya, who was the director of football under Roman Abramovich, or one of the directors. Who Abramovich had his trusted men and women. He had his trusted people. Todd Bowley has no one he trusts. He fired everyone. He brought a new whole team in, and then some of those people left. Like Christopher Vivol, he clearly saw the state of the club, and he's left. He was the only proper footballing mind we actually had. And Joe Shields. Joe Shields is the only one now at the club, apart from Vivol, who left. He's the one who brought in Cole Palmer, and credit to him, what an investment in Palmer. But you could see, without Palmer, we're nothing. We're actually nothing, and we're a mid-table side. Bowley fires everybody, gets a new team in, and then Tuchel doesn't agree with this philosophy. Bowley, I remember that first transfer window, 2022 transfer window, 2022 to 2023 season. Bowley we needed to clearly concentrate on this defense. Bowley's like, no, I'll just go after Cristiano Ronaldo for weeks, even though he clearly doesn't want to join. Thomas Tuchel doesn't agree with his philosophy, and Bowley obviously sacks Tuchel because he has such a big ego, and he can't fathom the fact that he's actually doing things wrong in a sport that he's been in for 2 years. He thinks he could just play career mode in real life. It doesn't work like that. And you can clearly see, since Thomas Tuchel was sacked, Thomas Tuchel was the only small identity we had left in this team. The only person who actually properly knew football and knew the Chelsea identity of winning. And this is the team we have. Thomas Tuchel is not the main problem. Sacking him wasn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue is these owners. And I know there are clubs who have it worse than us. I know there are teams in League One, League Two who are on the state of bankruptcy, or, on the borderline of being bankrupt. I understand that. And condolences go out to them. But as a Chelsea fan, I can only talk about my team, Chelsea. That's where my loyalties lie. It's unforgivable. How to kill a football club in 2 years? We're never going to be the top level that we were until years down the line. It's not going to be a 1 year solving problem. People need to realize that the owners could leave. Pochettino could leave, but we're still stuck in the state we are because the owners used amortization to get contracts like Mudryk, Cucurella, Jackson, all these players on 8-year deals. And there's a reason why it haven't been done for financial fair play yet, because these contracts go over the space of 8 years, and we have to still pay these players over the course of 7-8 years. So we could sell them and we'll still be paying them. We're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck. And any Chelsea fan out there who's watching this who can agree with me, get used to this. Get used to this. This is the new normal. This is the new normal. And this result has reinstated that. I thought maybe before that there was some chance that maybe this team is underperforming, it's Pochettino, etc. And that if a new manager came in, that would solve the issue. It's not going to solve the issue. We have, first of all, the players don't care. They're one of the biggest issues. But the club is rotten from top to bottom. Even if we sold these players, we still have financial problems. It's weird because we have the money, the owners have the money to spend, they have money, but there's a cap on how much we can spend with financial fair play, and we have financial issues with these players, with these contracts. It's over. It's over. Chelsea Football Club as we know it has died. 2024 has died. I don't even think 2024, I honestly think maybe 2023, but we just didn't know it at that point. But there was still a glimmer of hope. 2024 Chelsea Football Club has officially died. I don't recognize my club anymore. I don't. I really don't. But players like Terry, Drogba, Cech, Lampard, players who cared, I'll never forget John Terry. Obviously, I was only 1 year old back then, but obviously watched highlights and everything because there's only so much I could do at 1 year old. But John Terry putting his head on the line in that final against Arsenal, only where your foot should actually be, getting knocked out, being sent to hospital, and then literally cleared himself to come back for the celebrations when we won that final. That was a man. That was a player who knew the identity of Chelsea. We don't have that anymore. And it's funny because obviously it comes down to the individual, but the reason why we had that identity, or one of the reasons we had that identity as Chelsea, was because of, Jose Mourinho, Claudio Ranieri before him, but Jose Mourinho, he instated that identity, and he instated that mindset that these players could carry over to the next generation, next generation, next generation. We have no one. I would love someone like Mourinho back at the club, but I don't think he'd want to join. Why would anyone want to join this? A manager's not going to solve the issue. But yeah, that was my review on Chelsea versus Arsenal. Arsenal versus Chelsea, I should say. 5-0. 5-0. Oh my god, and Havertz scored too, as well. And he celebrated. They nearly got revenge for the 6-0. I think this still counts as revenge for the 6-0 in 2014. It's so peak, and every time as a Chelsea fan you think it's the bottom of the barrel and you think it can't get worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. Yep. Anyway, that was my review of the Arsenal vs Chelsea game. This club is going to kill me, and any other Chelsea fan could agree. It's going to kill me. It's going to kill us. You know the meme where it's like, I don't think I'm in love with football. I fell out in love with football. That's how I feel right now. I'm falling out of love with this sport. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, or if you're in the UK and watching this at like 2, 3 a.m, whatever time it is, have a great rest of your night. Just, oh my god. Just don't let this loss affect you too much. Carry on with everything going on with your lives. Because this club is never going to solve our issues. Oh my god. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And it's a depressing time to be a Chelsea fan. Thank you for listening.